Another Sunday fun day, out of this world teaching. It's out of this world. I am your hostess with the mostest, the High Priestess Phoenix. I am your spiritual healer, teacher, shaman, seer, oracle, lightworker, starseed, earth angel, mystic, medium, psychic, witch, yogi, guru, evangelist, North American Sybil. I am your messenger of God, the first child of God, reincarnated. I am Lilith. What's up, everyone? In order to keep up with me, which you can't, you can tell in the tone in my voice, the frequency that's coming out of my mouth, that I'm moving very fast. Why is it? We're getting closer to the full moon. By tomorrow, I'll be doing my full moon ceremonies and everything under the moon. Why? Because I live in the future. You live in the past. Truly, mindset. Mindset, definitely. All right, try to keep up. I shared a couple things on my community page. So I took some rest time, some downtime. Not really, sort of. And I was guided to watch something on Hulu, and I watched a specific episode of Skinwalker's Ranch. And I have been talking about them since the beginning. They get on my fucking nerves, 100%. Yes, you are right there at an activation portal. What you don't know is they're all over the place. You just happen to stumble upon one that the government found out, and now it's the secret's out. They're all over there. They're called Earth Star Chakras. Anyways, they document all this phenomenon and blah, 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 blah. But this particular episode, they had brought in Native Americans to perform musical rituals to see if there was an activation. And there very much was. Not to spoil the motherfucker for you, but it was. And they had brought in a rabbi that had did something similar, a Jewish rabbi, and it had activated some shit up there. They do a lot of shit that activates shit to do it. So they keep fucking poking the bear, right? They know that shit happens there, and they just keep trying to make more shit happen instead of just, sticking with, the final answer of, yes, shit happens here. Because they're scientists, they have to have, as we said, they have to put words on it, and they have to make sense of it. It can't just be unknown phenomenon, the unseen. They will not accept the unseen, even though they can see it clearly right in front of their eyes. They won't call it what it is. They won't accept the truth before them. They have to be able to fit it into the context of their mind or the books that they have read. They can't write a new book and just say that this is a new thing. It has to be something. They know it's something they've never seen before, but they can't take the initiative. Now, in the essence of, if you found a star, you would name the motherfucker and be all famous for that shit. You know what you found. You just haven't you gave it a name, but you're just fucking with it. In essence, they found a fucking Ouija board. What did they find? What comes out of there? Spirit? Beings? Portals? They're all over the fucking place. They're all over the place. Just nobody sits there with a fucking camera poking at it and fucking doing all kinds of experiments to it like they do. They're all over the place. You want to see some crazy shit? Let's go to Red Rocks. Again, it's just an ancient land that people would go to praise to, and phenomenon happened. What do they do now? Same thing. Music activation makes it happen. So, what does this have to do with what we're talking about? Well, we always talk about frequencies. High vibrational, low vibrational type shit. Consciousness. You have a low consciousness. You have a fucking, on the hierarchy knees, there's whale shit, and then you. And then we have higher consciousness, right? Or the unconscious. And so all of this is vibrational. And I had said that. You send out a vibration. You enter a realm of consciousness, right? And in essence, it's a frequency. They say how we activate it is through a crystal in our brain, right? Again, what did I say about the crystals and all of that? God created the universe. Then he created the earth, and he put it all into the earth, and all of the stones and minerals and all of that stuff. So in essence, they found, again, what I call is an Earth Star Chakra. There's a location that, they can't. And that's what happened in Colorado. What happened in Colorado? They dug for gold, and they unleashed way more than gold. Colorado and all of these places where they mine all of these minerals and stuff, they know that these particular stones and minerals are not of this earth. And so they use them and put them on little jewelry and shit like that, but not knowing the actual power that they hold and what happens if you align them. And that's called the crystal grid. Okay? Now, we ourselves are part of that crystal grid. According to science, is the crystal, the penal crystal that's inside of our brain. aligns us. In order to align it, I did a whole teaching last night, a 3-hour teaching. There was the solar plexus was missing out of that card. I found that very intriguing because that was like a 30-minute teaching, and what I talked about was very intriguing, or who I talked about, so perhaps that's the reason it wasn't there. Anyways, when you align your chakras, as you're going through it, and I tried to show it, you're entering different dimensions where there's different beings of the unseen, and you develop different anomalies, I guess, is what the word science tried. Phenomenal, fucking, unexplained, phenomenon happens in and around you, and you're tapped into it. And so they know what's happening there, and they're tapped into it, but they're tapped into it from a outside perspective. I'm tapped into it to an inside perspective. Now, going back to it, this particular episode, they had the tribe called Big Bear from Oklahoma, which is all a mixture of different tribes that come together and play the native songs. There's some from the Navajo, there's some from this. Now, why Oklahoma? I told you, Oklahoma is the home of the nations. They identify with all the tribes, right? I was part of the Choctaw Nation, is where I was at, but I also was brought up into the Cherokee on my way out of there. And then, of course, I've always worked with the Native American tribes as I've traveled. Again, that was probably my first ceremonial work was always doing their ceremonies. And that goes back to the sage. Sage is always there, and that's theirs. That's ceremonial to the Native Americans. Really? I don't believe you're going to find sage smudging in any other country as much as it was to the Native Americans. And even here, you can't even, in the natives, it's only the elders that do such things. Yep, and in their culture, the highest elder that communes is a priestess. It's a woman, of course, in the tribes. Now, here's what it is like the government has access to it, and it's on the Ute tribe, which is right next to Colorado. It's up near the Four Corners, right? Interesting, isn't it? It always is. But yeah, they're hidden all over, and that's what it is. What activates it? Frequencies. So they send all kinds of shit into they poke the bear with all kinds of different kinds of frequencies to get it to fucking do shit. And then it opens up and they see shit. And they catch it on camera, and then they're like, oh, let's do it again. That's it. That's what they do all day. Great, right? What are they doing? They're unleashing hell upon the earth. Like, not really, but they're just fucking poking a bear. Well, let's go over and let's go open and flood the gates. Right? Because I'm the gatekeeper. What do we gotta do? Same thing I told you I gotta do at the fucking Vatican. Frequency. I'm the highest vibrational being, right? What does that mean? Well, I carry the light. So, in essence, that's what they're monitoring, is things are moving faster than the speed of light. They're catching things that are beyond the scene. They have to use specific fucking scientific equipment to see such things. They have to monitor the land, like all of that. But it all comes from frequencies. That's how they're catching it. Alright? So, music. I just did a teaching earlier. I talked about Michael Jackson and how he was the incarnation of Archangel Michael, and that he was the frequency of love, and he spread that love through his mouth, through all of the globe. That's what he did as he was here, was the frequency. Right? He was just, that's it. That was Michael Jackson. He was the frequency of love, and you called him the king of pop, but he could change the room with his frequency. That's what us light workers do, right? We have a different vibration. We change the energy of the room when we walk in, is what I need to explain. Okay, so going back to it, there's a whole bunch of this put together. And all of the Bible teachings, and if you go to church, the first thing they start with is worship music. The Bible teaches about the angels, the angels saying and praise the Lord. They always talk about, you could hear the trumpets playing and the drum rolls and all of this, right? Music has always been a part of a ritual act because it changes the frequency of the room. It's universal, right? It's all what I spoke about. And I'm part of the choirs, which is here, and that's why I'm attached to all of these, twin flames that you consider famous guys in the music industry. I'm here to help them change the frequency of music into a frequency of love. That's the highest vibration, is love. We talked about all of this earlier. So I had said, when I go to the Vatican, I have to be able to dance every step of that entire city. How do you do that? With music. Alright? These are old traditional, you know what I mean? This is beyond the actual teachings. Now you go back to the ancient Egyptians. We knew that we could use music to change. I'm not going to go into all of it, but it all goes back to a frequency. Music holds frequencies. So do you. You have your own individual frequency. Okay? So imagine you play a note. You have your own sound to yourself, right? You send out, just like every aquatic animal, right? They send out sonars and shit. They have their own frequency. Those that are in the same chord as that melody, or you know what I mean, that same, in the chord of that note, you know, harmonize together. Alright? So it takes 3 chords to make a harmony, right? So 3 notes make a chord. Okay, now that's how you get the collective. These collective messages. We're all part of a collective, right? But there's different levels. People are on different levels of the collective, different octaves, different vibrations. There's low vibrational people where all these people across the board are all in the same octave of bullshit. Okay, then there's all these love and lighters that are at the same octave of bullshit. Me, I'm in the highest. I'm the highest in the room, the loudest. But if you listen, I'm the deepest octave. Right? And that's what it is okay, so going back to my twin flames, stuff like that. That's how it is, a frequency in my ear. I can hear a frequency in my ear and be pulled to them. It's a sonar, right? I hear their frequency, and it calls. You're drawn to it. Now, when you wake up, your intuition starts to, and this is what they call your 6th senses, your claircognizance and your clairsenses and all of this stuff, your intuition. Your follow callings of frequencies, these tones, these feelings that vibrate through your body and outside. You can tell you can walk in a room and feel the frequency of the room and know that if this is low vibrational shit is going on. You don't know exactly, but you felt this before. You know what I mean? You feel things. You feel the frequency of things. You say it's energy, but it's all frequencies. Okay? So we're tuning your frequency is what we're doing through all of this. Interesting as it is, right? I was just sitting there jamming some music and got this huge download of how to put this into words for you, but it is all interconnected, right? And that goes back to people. You vibe with what they're talking about. They're speaking your language. They're talking your words. They're you know what I mean? You vibe with their energy. You vibe with that frequency. Like attracts like. Now the thing is to keep vibrating at a higher vibration. You know what I mean? You can stay on a vibration and always find a click. You're always going to find a melody or a code to go with that. A chord, right? There's going to be other people that play the same note, that dance to the same tune. Isn't this great? The Holy Spirit wanted you to hear all this like this. And so that's where mine is. I give off the highest frequency. Alone, it goes 3 miles without projection. Just me moving through the land is a 3-mile radius. Right? I'm sending off waves. Right? Constant waves. I'm taking in the energy like a tree. For 3 miles, I'm taking in 3 miles of darkness and cleaning that just automatically with just the very touch of my foot, with no projection whatsoever. But there are times, especially on a Sunday, on moon day, or full moons and stuff, where I'll astral project and do coverings of specific countries. We would say nations and stuff like that. It's locations across the globe, just like the divine does. It pours out creativity, love, destruction, all of it. It's just flows. and they flow through the air and through lines of energetic lines. To put them on, that you can't put them. They go in all directions, right? So there's lines of energy that go like the equator, that go, vertical and horizontal. But then you have the lines of the, looking at a map of America, and you have the weather lines that just goes through. You know what I mean? Our weather comes from, if you know how the American weather works, you should. This is the American broadcast system. I don't have I really don't. Use your good imagination. This is good for you for vision. You take a blank space. This is projection. Imagine America, right? So here we go. This is going to be up here. This is going to be Washington, Oregon, California. Come around, right? Somewhere around here, Texas. We're coming up into Louisiana, all that. Here comes fucking Florida. Up the East Coast, here's New York, shit like that. Here comes, Canada border, right? Somewhere in there. Use your imagination, fill in the blanks. The flow of energy, the weather broadcast system, comes from the northern Pacific, and it it'll shoot over across into here, which is Idaho and all that shit. It'll shoot through the north, but then it drops into Utah, through Colorado. Now right here is its own fucking weather line. There's two weather lines that go like this. One goes like this, and one goes like this. And this is where you guys is getting fucked up. So the shit comes in through us, right? Once it gets to us, it catches two weather lines. It's either going to go through Kansas, straight down into fucking Texas, and go fuck the whole bottom coast. And then there's this weather line that'll take it all the way back up to fucking New York. Have you never seen the weather do this all fucking through your life? Now, then you have the fucking shit that comes off of, why? Because of the Great Lakes. The Great Lakes bring all the fucking suck some shit up. So it brings all that cold weather that comes in, and then it's still the same fucking lines. It's still the same fucking lines. So Tornado Alley catches this line. Tornado Alley is a line that comes through the eastern side of Colorado, Texas, Oklahoma, and then it shifts over and catches a whole nother weather line. Those are flows of energy just by weather, right? So a fucking fart in the wind can really carry all the way across America. Yeah? You never saw that. So that's energetic lines here. And that's only because I'm paying attention to what's going in my native land. But if you pull the camera back and you watch the weather, and I like to do that on the radar, you can watch the synchronicities of how it moves across the globe. And that's energy being carried. What's in that energy? Where is it coming from? What's in the weather? What's hitting us? That's where you look to the planets. They're the one. The weather comes from outside of our planet, and it builds in these clouds and shit. So it's, that's what it is. Science could have a better explanation as to how our planet is pulling in shit from the outside, from the outer space, you know what I mean, and bringing it into our ozone, right? They could explain it better, but that's how we get our tides, that's how our weather changes, that's how it is, because it's these patterns. Okay, so what I sit here and do, and I in such all different fucking ways, which is where people are in, travels through the multi-dimensional realms. See? Yeah, but I show you from a spiritual standpoint. Where are we in hell? This is a hellish day. Where are we in hell? Where are we in the light? Where is our frequency? What's flowing around us? So we have that 10-day forecast that flows for 10 days. It's just a constant flow. But if you realize, it says not just 10 days. It says what's going to happen within those 10 days, which goes back to the Egyptian calendar. And aligned with that is our Krishna cards and our Odin and the 9 realms. So we've got how many realms that we have on a 10-day. We've already counted that down, right? Then we've also learned our Sabbats, so we've got those put in. We know what that energy brings, right? We know our tarot, which is our daily. We can look at our tarot and daily. We're learning our astrology to learn what these energies are bringing. Every monthly energy of the 12, the 12 houses is what they call that bullshit. Right? We're learning how the moon is reflecting all of this light and energy back to us in the night, and we wake up in that energy and have to work through it in our masculinity or in ourselves through the day. Or you should be learning all of this, or this is what I teach over here. It's a lot more than that. But all of the religions had easier ways of telling you to just get right. Well, let me tell you what's pushing you to get right. And that goes back to what we taught today. All religious books teach you about your suffering and what it's made to do, what it means in this life. And that's pretty much what I tell you. I blame it on the planets and God. So, is that a good enough for you? I know, right? Where did it all start with? Aliens? Why? Because they're eternal, bro. Those motherfuckers don't die. Really? Not really. They're beings that are currently living in our reality and outside of our planet that fucking people are like, these assholes keep poking at, thinking that it's fucking funny. They fucking keep probing you and they think it's hella funny. Almost choked the chicken on that one. Seriously. So, what do we need? Higher vibrational beings to activate this shit. Open the portals. What comes out of them? Goodness. It's like a whole Ouija board. It's a Ouija board on the planet. And that's where it is. There's all these hidden secrets and stuff. They put it in the earth, dude. If you were, and that's like Shawshank Redemption, Joe. You have no pockets. You have nothing. What are you going to do? You're going to leave clues. You're going to leave it in the ground. You're going to bury your treasure in the fucking ground, bro. And that's what they're always looking for. They're trying to drill the ground, but every time they do, they get a headache or something weird happens, and they're like, all right, well, let's just fuck with the sky, because every time we touch the ground, we feel like we're going to die. Truly? Yeah, you got to watch the whole series to know that they're not allowed to fuck with the ground. And that's where they always put me. They'll be doing some road work, and here I come. I'm like, oh my god, do you know what you're digging in right now? let me put a blockage or open this up. Let me pray over this. Now, unrelated, but completely, I believe, is related. With all of this download, I'm coming up and I'm still listening to gospel music of Sister Act jamming in the elevator. And in the elevator with me is the baby that makes me cry every time, ever since he got here. You'd have to be keeping up with my videos to know that there is a baby here. And every time I speak of him, he makes me cry. I didn't know he was a him. I told his story. Well, today he's there and he's in the elevator with his parents. And I take my headphones off. I said, how old's your baby? I said, a month. It's like, he's very precious. He has a mighty calling on his life. I'm a spiritualist, and I have been drawn to him ever since you got here. I've seen you on the side of the roads. I've seen you in crossing. What is his name? Theodore. God bless you and Theodore. The last time I saw Theodore, I saw them dragging Theodore in the freaking, I think it was hot that time. Today it was raining. Still didn't have no blanket on. Super tiny baby in the car seat. And I just cried to God and I cried to Pac. Please do something for Theodore. I didn't know his name. I didn't know his sex. I just knew that Theodore was having a party off to a really fucked up start. And I met Theodore today and I gave Theodore before I came up here. And I want to pray for Theodore for his life. This boy got such mighty calling on his life. And those of us, you know, God sends his toughest battles to his, you know, his toughest warriors. And even though we don't know, you know, we look at Theodore as, you know, their baby, that's God's child, bro. And that child is a Holy Spirit that incarnated into that family to set them free. He may not know that, and you may not know that's why you're here. But at that age, at 1 month, I tell you, that boy, he's covered by the Holy Spirit. But he's going to have a hard life. And that's me. I had the hardest life, but God was there, and I was always covered by the Holy Spirit as I went through the fucking, you know what I mean? This holy hell. That goes back to Marshall, man. We made it through. People, you know, and it's not that the other people didn't have the covering. It's that we're supposed to make it all the way through. You know? That's all. I just wanted to say that. That's all. That little guy, ever since I've seen him, he brings tears to my eyes. The life that he has been born into has brought tears to my eyes. And I finally had a moment with him. And I prayed over his life. And it helps us to understand our own, you know? You want the best for a child when they're born. You never want them to hurt and suffer. You know what I mean? But he was born into a hurt and suffering time, and he's still a child of God, and he's going to shine bright. And he's going to, you know, he's going to make an impact in his parents' life and in this world. He's got a mighty calling, long life. He's going to thug it out. It's all right. He's not alone. Not at all. I'll know his name forever. I'll think of him forever. I'll send prayers to him forever. And I don't have to, because that's God's baby. He didn't need my prayers. That's just extra. God loves him just enough. And that's how he is about all of you and the children. In my earlier video, I talked about that. Mother Mary gave birth to Jesus, and Jesus was her son that she loved with all her life. But at one moment in life, she had to realize that that was no longer her son, but God's son. And he had a mighty calling. And, you know, going back to it, I think she always knew that. That was, you know, the chosen one. That was God's chosen one. And, you know, our children are chosen. And we were chosen to do great things. Sometimes our parents don't know that, and we don't know that, but we were chosen. And in essence, who chose us? We chose. We chose to come here and be part of this. You want to go back to saying, I didn't choose to be born. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. I didn't choose my parents. Well, fate did that. And you're going to do them a great... Yeah? Yeah. And you're that hurt you. You're going to make a change. And this is all done, okay? Alright, let's work on your vibrations. So, they had tuned into some stupid shit, which is technically kind of dangerous for a person like me to know, or anybody in the music industry, anybody that knows anything about frequencies, but they're just fucking around scientists that are over there, Bill Nye the Science Guy, about to blow their heads off. They realized, and we're going to look through our little book and find out what they tapped into. They realized that if they fuck around with the frequency of 192 hertz, that's when shit starts popping off. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm not a producer. But I know there's a particular note that makes that frequency. I mean, we could all Google it together if we wanted to be that guy, but let's leave that to the producers. It's a key. It's a note. It's a tone. A tone that's set makes things happen on the top of that fucking mountain. So let's set the tone. What's the tone? I don't really know. But this, as I said, is one of our higher levels. I only do them on Sunday when we're in the light. We're still in the light, technically. And it tells about the frequencies. So I need to go through here and try to find the frequency that we're talking about. Some of them are labeled quite simple, but I'm not quite sure. And this is all about, you know, so I wanted to show you what are we going on. In here it says some shit about the rapture. Out of ego and into sacred. The practical side of the rapture. This could be scary shit. I didn't read all this shit. The anti-rapture crew. There's a lot going on in this bullshit. Ecstasy of the natural kind. This is all inside the beginning. The necessity of ecstasy. From blocking to attracting the ecstatic. Interesting. This is really all in the beginning. I never read the beginning of this shit. They just throw me all into the bullshit. The testing phase. How to play with your white oracles. I don't play with them. We just read them one by one. The process of purification. There's a lot going on in here, guys. Session for sacred surrender. 2 cards, 3 cards. No. Alright, let's get into this. Each of them at the very end tells you what frequency you kind of magnum does towards the end. And then some of them really just tell you the frequency. Let me see if I can start in the front that label the frequencies. I know there's a page of it. Here it is. Alright, Basset is the frequency of 174 hertz. The perfume of Sophia, which we were talking about, let's go there. Because we were talking about Sophia, right? I was trying to figure out, we talked about Sophia for the last 24 hours. That came up with the Divine Feminine, and then we found out that the people that studied Mary Magdalene were called Sophians. So let's start there on card number 12 and page 89. And we'll just kind of go from there, because then there comes the other frequency. See, there's the frequency of the heart. The Seraphim is 963 hertz. And that's what they said, is the Sophia is part of the Seraphim. That's what I just turned to. Okay? Do you understand what I'm talking about? The owl spirit is 552 hertz. Solve Pulati, or Poluti, is 741 hertz. Right? The Tantra is 639 hertz. The mantra, the mandala of your heart. So when you're in your heart space, when you're vibing straight from your heart, and that's usually me, that's the frequency on page, or it's the 17th card, is 528 hertz. I live in Colorado. Our elevation is 5280. That's where it's said everywhere. The 303 is known for the 5280. Right? We know 17 is my number, right? Forever. 7, 11, 11, 7, 17. Those are my three twin flames. Blah, 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 blah. 5280 is the hertz of the mandala. Do you see the synchronicities? How it's a language. How it aligns. Now, if I was in Oklahoma, it would be... Okay, so now listen to this. The solar plexus, the sun, is the frequency of 417 hertz. The bear is 396 hertz. The yogini is 285 hertz, which is another synchronicity. So I'm always off of Hampton Avenue, which is Highway 285. Really? Always. Alright, so Basset is that frequency of 174 hertz. They said that they were in the frequency of 192 hertz when they were seeing shit happen up there. Let's see what perfume of Sophia is, just for shits and giggles. I'm just kind of reading it. I'm going to read right here. As you lean into the natural timing rather than trying to force something to happen, you'll remain connected to your own ground of being. You won't be pushing to get ahead. You'll be in connection with yourself. You'll be able to sense your body and soul, that which might otherwise confuse your mind. With a tendency to argue first one way and then the other, you will instinctively sniff out the truth of a situation. Then you shall be able to develop something useful with that knowledge. Developing the patience requires us to see through times when we cannot know something, with trust and hopefully some equanimity. It is an important part of our soul's journey. If such times invoke fearful and negative predictions or anxiety based on lack or belief, that you can deal with whatever arises with grace and dignity, and then work through those issues. That came up in the middle of my dark teaching. All of a sudden we started teaching about lack mentality and you not having belief or understanding. You can't. That goes back to these scientists. Even them, they can see it within their own eyes, but they can't understand it. You saw it with your own eyes. I spoke about it in that video, and the next day God gave me a hundo. Out of nowhere. It fell from the sky. Believing is seeing. The more you believe in it, the more you will see. So these guys believe something's happening, and the more they see it. But how much do they need to see to actually just accept? It's all coming to a place of acceptance, and that's where they lack. They lack acceptance. They lack the understanding of the I would say the unseen, but it's totally documented to them, and that's what it is to you. I show you regularly. I have 427 of you, and every time I put a number on it, somebody tries to run away. But for the most part, we've been pretty consistent for at least a month or two. There's a 427 of you that watch from all kinds of weird places and don't put up the views, and I do that too because I don't watch the ads. But anyways, that have been watching God's miracles and my connection to the divine. You see that there is something going on here where I am actually communicating with the unseen. And it's one hell of a show. When, at what point will you accept that I have that connection and that I'm trying to give it to you? This is exactly what I'm presenting to you regularly. Is the truth in front of you that you're denying. So, going back to this, it is an important part of your soul's journey. If there are such times that invoke fearful and negative predictions or anxiety based on lack or belief that you can deal with whatever arises with grace and dignity, then work on those issues. Do what you can now. Leave everything else up to the loving and wise working of the universe. And that's where you have to, I'm trying to show you that the universe is out there working with you. And I show you, I'm not trying to prove it to you. I am working with the universe regularly. You're just supposed to be keeping up, trying to prove shit to you. I know our connection, and I with our connection, and I deliver our connection to you. Again, then I would just be connected to God, and there's no need for all of this. My job is to connect you to God, and use my connection to get you connected to the universe. If you are pushing for a resolution, an answer, or an understanding before it's time for you to know, you'll feel frustrated. It will be more constructive and enjoyable for you to engage with what is. Alright, going back to it. What is God doing with me? I don't know. Again, he could take this job at any time. I never get comfortable. It almost happened yesterday. Really? Yeah, that's what Morgan was like, how's the job going? I was like, it was all cool until yesterday. She's like, oh, did you blow up? I was like, sort of. I was like, it's in the whole video. I'll tell you later. Anyways, and so I was like, it was a moral code of ethics, dude. And I was like, you know what I mean? And that was it. It was like, at the end of the day, I do what's right. You can't ask a nun to fucking lie or cheat or turn the other way. I'm higher than a nun. I'm a priest. I'm a priestess, dude. You can't ask me to do shit like that. At no cost. Not hourly, not for fucking a couple of days, dude. And that's just where it is. It's like, that's all. And that's all, folks. Going back to it, it's like, I never know. I just know God. I don't know what God's fully doing, and that's why we do this regularly, is to see what God's up to. What's the universe doing? How is it conspiring for us? What is it asking of us, and what is it providing for us? And that's why I'm always looking outside of, to bring those answers to you. Because they're in control. We're just riding this stupid fucking ride until, for me, a long-ass time. I got fucking counting the timer down, but I still have 55 years of this, and 35 of them is gonna be bullshit. That's some bullshit. Anyways, I'm built for the bullshit, so it's funny, but it's not, because that's bullshit. You want it to be all fucking rainbows and butterflies. Not for a while. Only in your conscious, bro. I could show you where they live and stuff. That was a good one. But you're not really supposed to know. Your knowing means nothing because you really don't know. And that's the constant that you understand about spirituality. The only constant in the universe is change. Just as soon as you get comfortable, that means that you've mastered it. So it's off to a new adventure and a new challenge. Do you understand that's what brings change, right? That's what brings in chaos, is your growth. God shakes the nest and pushes you out because it's time for you to fly. So you go and build a new nest, and you get all comfortable, and you're like, yeah, I'll settle down here forever. He's like, are you kidding me? I built this whole world for you. I need you to go out and explore a little bit more than this nest. So he burns down your nest. Then you find another one. You do the same fucking thing, but he keeps burning you out to get you out. Why? Because he built this city on rock and roll. Thanks, Holy Spirit. He built Such a funny kind of person, isn't he? He built the whole fucking universe for you and put it inside of this planet. He wanted you to have, explore it and all of the feelings that come with it. And yeah, unfortunately, we're exploring hell on earth, but he wants us to be happy little angels about it. Butterflies and unicorns. Very Christ-like about it, with lots of trust and faith and showing love and compassion to everybody. Really? Yeah. Take your shirt off your back and let him spit in your face type shit. Really? I know. What the fuck was he thinking? I'm trying, God. If they spit in my face, I'm gonna fucking fuck them up, bro. If they... That's why you don't let me outside. You're still kind of temperamental. I think you're gonna burn somebody's down to the ground. I might fucking put them on... I will hang them on a cross. It was good enough for your son. I'll do it again. You like to burn bitches, huh? You like to burn witches, huh? Okay. Throwing babies off the... This what we do, God? Just kidding. We don't match the energy. We change it. We alchemize it and make it better. You're supposed to let them spit in your face. Just try to keep your mouth closed and don't do anything. Pray for them or something. That's what God said. I'm working on that for sure. Anyways, going back to it. Yeah, something like that. You're not supposed to know what's going on. That's the adventure called life. There's always these twists and turns and surprises. You get on a boat and you're really trying to just go one direction. And then the fucking waves catch you in the sea and you end up on all kinds of islands and all kinds of, mystical places eating coconuts and fucking drowning in fucking waves and shit. Caught in the Bermuda Triangle for 50 years. I don't know. It's life. It's an adventure. You're really not supposed to know. And it goes back to it. People hated that. And I don't know. I got to Mr. Plum's house. I'm like, he didn't call me today. I'm a little worried if he's okay. Or maybe he just had a busy day. I'll call him again tomorrow. He has a lot of church and stuff. And it's his birthday. And, there's a lot going on in his life right now. But anyways, I got to Mr. Plum's house. And I'm like, Mr. Plum, God brought me here. He's going to tell me how to get out of here. I don't know. I just have to sit still for a little bit. He didn't like that answer. You know what I mean? I don't know what God's doing. He brought me here. He'll tell me what to do next when the time is right. That's my most famous answer, and people hate that. That's what it means to be an obedient servant of God. I listen to when he tells me what he tells me to do. I said that earlier. I ain't doing shit, bitch. I don't do what my mind tells me. You know what I mean? Unless it aligns with my feelings, you know what I mean? Like, I've already been telling myself I need to do this. I do what God says, and nothing more. I don't do what people say. I don't do what my mind says. I sit around and I wait for God. I wait for the force inside of me. I wait for the vision. I wait for, the signs and wonders. And I go with those. And that's how I'm led. I don't know where it leads, but it always leads to greatness. You know what I mean? And that's my connection. I don't know. I tell you all the time, fuckers, I don't know. I'm not supposed to. It's supposed to be a discovery. But I'm already, in essence, that's the faith. Is like, no matter what, I'll be alright. God, I'm following God, not myself. And even if I was following myself, God's there too, to watch out for my ass. If I fuck this up, he's gonna fucking help me out of this. You don't want to have that mentality and, you can get away with all kinds of murder. Fucking murderers. They're very much running from God as they're cutting up people and destroying lives. But in the essence of, it's that. I don't know. You're not supposed to rely on your own understanding is what Jesus said, and that's what it is. It's like, always knowing means you're in control. But even if you swear you know how this is going to go and it doesn't go your way and you have one hell of a fit, because you were never in control. You're just riding it. You're calling it in. You're calling in the storms by your frequency, which is what? Your trials and tribulations, your lessons. It's all karmic. You learn a lesson and you overcome it, and then you move on to a new lesson. If you're living life right, instead you're just running around in different places learning the same lesson, trying to learn it with different faces. You don't actually change until you learn the lessons, and then you have a different mindset. So you're not low vibrational. You're not stuck in this way of life. So now you live a different way of life, which is higher, a higher vibing life. You've let go of, things that were low vibe and that were keeping you down. Now you're a little bit higher, a little bit freer, and you keep freeing yourself and going higher. And that's where it is. Where's the ceiling? There is none. That's what I've learned. That's where it's like, when are you done? You can never be done. Making yourself better. That's where Kobe comes in and Nipsey. The marathon continues. There's no version of done. When you can always, and that's where, here comes the producers. They can always make it better. They can always fine-tune that fucking song. Every frequency of that song, change every instrument, every melody. They can add and take from it forever. And make it better and better and better. And that's it as a songwriter too. You can change your words and stuff if you don't get it out of your hands. And that's the difference between that type of art. Ours is very fluid. Whereas something like, paintings, it's in stone. Once you put the pen to the paper, there's no erasing it. You have to work with what you got and develop it from that. Whereas we can start all over. Most artists don't, but, we can take one little piece of it and work with that. And then we can erase that, and we can go back and start with that same piece. And that's your life. You're taking pieces away, working with it, building off of it, fine-tuning yourself is what we're talking about. You're like a guitar, and we're tuning you to make the right choices and noises. Come on, I'm just trying to figure out what that was activating the aliens over here. I'm sure that's in my Palladium book. Alright, the healing frequency of 174 hertz is known as the pain-relieving frequency. This is a good one. Her card's not right up there, but she's part of, I always say Basset, but it's what do they call it? Basset, I don't care. I always say Basset. Why? I don't know. I always have. You can correct me if you want to. I'll probably still fuck it up. It's a pain-relieving frequency. A natural anesthetic. It is a musical version of a similar low-frequency purring of a cat. The cat purr is considered medically therapeutic, as is the 174 hertz. This frequency creates an experience of grounding and slowing down, and invokes deep healing for the body and mind, providing love and peace to organs and tissues, soothing your bones and your soul. And that goes back to it. Cats are very they're not being assholes. And they'll sit there and be that, that noise. All of us, even if you're not a cat owner, I don't have one, that frequency. You can hear it running through your spine. That's another thing, too. When you get around great music or great vibes, you get this, there's always this saying, it makes the hair on my neck stand up. Look, the hair on my arms is standing up. I'm shivering. These are frequencies that are running through your body that are making your body react. A lot of them are fear-based. The hair on my neck is standing up. Or if you're, look, the hair on my arms is standing up. It's making my knees weak. These are frequencies that are you're feeling throughout your body. And that's what I teach you about feelings, right? So you catch a vibe off of people. You feel this frequency off of them. You're feeling their feelings in your body. You're feeling everything. It's frequencies. You have your own, but you feel everybody else's. Yeah, kind of crazy. Alright, let's see. The Oracle of Basset and the 174 hertz asks you to slow down and take some time to heal, rest, relax, and enjoy your life. And that's what I did today. I did a lot in the morning. I had all this crazy-ass energy, and I did a lot. And then afterwards, I just, kind of laid down. It took me a while to, kind of unwind. I just told myself to lay down. And then I was, forcefully trying to get out of a nap that I just couldn't get out of it. It was only a 2-hour nap, but I just was, trying to forcefully get myself out. I got out of it, and I went outside, and it was, kind of stormy, and I was like, oh, this is what I prayed for earlier. Because I go into those naps because it's too hot in the day. I told you, between 3 and 5, dude, unless I'm at work, fuck. I ain't out there. That's hot. God. Fuck. Anyways, so usually, I'm in my coffin. Usually, unless God's being mean and I have to be out there. I'll deal with it. But, so I get out, And then I'm like, okay, cool. I smoked a cigarette, and I was like, okay. God's like, go for a walk. And I needed to get another pack of cigarettes, and I needed to put some money on my Cash App card. And I was like, okay. And I start walking. I'm like, dude, it's gonna fucking start raining on me. Sure enough, it's raining. I'm walking. It's raining. I'm like, oh, I'm a witch. It's fine. It feels better than being sweaty. I go and I do it, and as I come out, this beautiful rainbow like ever. And it goes back to Christ, I taught last night that he's part of the rainbow ray, and that we're, as the Native American legend says, we are the rainbow children that were incarnated. I'm like, where are these people? I mean, I'm here. And so it was kind of all aligned, is what happened earlier. And so I did that, and I really haven't done much. I have a lot to do, and I was like, you know what? We'll just do some more tomorrow. I'll do the laundry tomorrow when I go to drop off some paperwork and pay some bills. And that was it. It's like the stuff I wanted to cram in today, I didn't, and that's okay. And that's what it said. Heal, rest, relax, and enjoy your life. And that's it. I watched some fucking Hulu. That was cool. Then you can, all for a reason to come back and tell you what I saw. Then you can more effortlessly be a source of positive energy. We deal with issues far more effectively from a place of peace and relaxation than from stress. If you're interested in exploring any sort of sacred arts of pleasure, including music and sound, food, touch, and massage, healing, play, dance, celebration, art, color therapy, healing with crystals and oils, this oracle encourages you to do so. Well, I do all of that, guys. Why? Because I have to anoint my temple. I have to take really good care of my body as it's taking in all of this energy. Imagine like wiring, right? Copper, right? There's all this energy flowing through a tube, but you have to make sure that you take care of the outside of the tube. You know what I mean? The exterior of what's holding it in. I don't really give a shit. Presentation of the body is, it needs to be acceptable just so you can live outside and people not fucking giving you ugly, shitty looks. But it's more about caring for the body and what flows through it and into it. Again, someone like me, I'm a strainer to life, so I'm literally taking in all kinds of fucking dirty energy and putting out all kinds of good energy. I'm a filter system. So I need to clean this filter all the time. Otherwise, I'm going to get backed up with all the dirty shit that I take in throughout a day. All kinds of fucking shit. So that's why I have to do all these oils. That's why I was sitting there. I always need sage. I'm burning that shit all the fucking time. All my herbs to clean my body off. And that's on top of listening to music to change my frequency. I'm cleaning the inside of myself through my lungs with tobacco and weed smoke. Again, herbs, regular, traditional shit. I'm taking lots of baths to wash off the energy. I'm anointing myself all the time. I'm staying out in nature to get the vibes of other people off of me. But when I'm out there, I'm still catching shit. When I'm in the water, I'm catching shit. When I'm sitting there listening to music, I'm catching shit. That's why, I'll take a bath before I go to bed, and I have to wake up and take a fucking bath. Like, dude, all this shit, I caught all kinds of shit on my body just laying there. How do you know? I don't know. I wake up sweaty. I feel like I need a bath in the morning. I'm like, dude, I need a shower. Really? Oh, yeah, for sure. By noon, I need a fucking shower. God. I need to get this off of me. All kinds of shit. I'm serious. I use all of that stuff for healing. Crystals? Yup. I'm grabbing them. I'm fucking putting them in my purses. Yes. Everything. Anyways, there's lots of it you can do, and I teach you all that because I'm a hard workstation. If you've been too hard on yourself, it's time to be kind. Question and heal any guilt or shame which has prevented you from enjoying the natural pleasures of your body. You are encouraged to enjoy life. Your delight can be a source of positive energy for yourself and to others too. And that's it too, you know what I mean? Whatever was going on in this building, and I saw it. I told you this morning, there was and after my music fucking trance and this big ass sage burn, I turn around, there's a fucking paramedic and some fire people. Then it happened later today. I went to, again, when I came back from all of the, rainbow ride, I'm in my car burning shit, and I walk into the building, and there's 3 police officers talking to some person. I'm like, what the fuck? Thank God I ain't part of this. I'm doing As I'm sitting in my car. My car is parked in front of these sliding doors, or in this big ass parking lot around this sliding glass door that's always opening and closing. My windows are completely open, and I've set it on my fucking, literally on my window. Yeah, my car smells like an ashtray now, I gotta be honest. I just gotta be honest. The shit don't smell too good no more. I just don't. I burn all kinds of fucking herbs in there. It smells like a fucking fireplace, to be honest. Really? Yeah. Anyways, I'm just being honest. It's not, doesn't smell too good in here. It smells like fucking a peace pipe. That's a good one. Anyways, I set this fucking Jewish ashtray in literally on my window, and the wind is blowing it. My windows are open, and it's blowing unbelievable amounts of smoke into my car, but it blows it through the windows and all over the parking lot. Now, as people are walking out into the parking lot, they're getting blasted with my smoke. As the door to the building is opening and closing and opening and closing, it's pulling the smoke into the fucking building. As the motherfucking ambulance pulls up to the sliding glass doors, and they open their door, it's pulling the smoke into their ambulance, through their ambulance, and they're sitting on the other side trying to figure out what's smoking. Every time the fucking fire truck comes to see what's on fire inside of the building, I have a big ass smoking fire going out in the parking lot from my car, surrounding all the people, the fire truck, and it's still getting sucked into the building. I am not just cleaning my energy. I am cleaning this whole fucking building all day long, and they smell it as soon as they walk out. There's one person that hates it, because she's a hateful fucking fat cunt. Can't stand that bitch. Can't stand that bitch. Why? Because what's wrong with you? Anyway, she don't want nobody catch no healing, and I'm the only person that's doing this. I'm the only person that's doing these religious practices for all of it, other than the church that comes in with their fucking olive oil that will anoint you, and they got their tambourine man. You know what I mean? They're bringing in some music and some God and some fucking holy oils too, and they're praying over you. Other than that, you bitches is doomed. You are so far away from God, dude. You don't know him. And I sit there in that parking lot praising him, bringing the spirit of God into this whole fucking, at least a 3-mile radius, as I say. But, you know, as a pleasure to all of us, as a gateway. So, yeah, going back to that, yeah, I do a lot of that. I do it in the car, I promise you. Guys, I get ready for work. I sit there and do it in the morning when I first wake up, right? I'm burning little bits of it. When I get in my car and I'm about to leave to work, which is a 15-minute drive through Denver, and this is really nice, preppy-ass fucking Denver, these motherfuckers. Where you work at? I work on the south side, bro. Highlands Ranch, Littleton, the fucking, all that nice shit, bro. For reals? Yeah, them bitches. And that's why they got the cheap gas and shit. Anyways, I go through Whiteville, Lemon Lulu Land. Lemon Lulu Land. That's for reals, right? Them bitches. These bitches. This is where the fucking school shootings and shit happen. All that shit. For reals? Yeah, for reals. All up and down those streets. It's all the fucking money streets. Anyways, I go through these lands. As soon as I get in my car, before I leave my parking lot, I light up my ashtray and I put it in the middle of my altar that's sitting in the middle of my motherfucking dashboard. I roll down my windows. It is smoking. Like, there's a fire looking. Like, this is a lot of smoke. Have you ever burnt sage? It smokes. The bitch smokes. Really, smokes. It's burning in my windows in my car as I'm driving that 15 minutes to work. I get to work and I relight it if there's any more to be burnt. Everywhere I'm going, I am saging the land. I look like a powerhouse for sure, a smoking fucking crazy shit. And I've got music turned up extremely loud, and I am dancing in my car as I'm doing it. These are all Native American religious practices. But they go further than the Native Americans, is what I'm trying to tell you. Here I am munching on the mounds. There's a lot more to it. And I'm covered in, you know what I mean, anointed oils. I'm always wearing perfumes and oils and all of this shit. That's what the lady said. She's like, you smoke? You don't smell like smoke. I was like, no, I usually don't. I put all kinds of perfume and I sanitize myself and all of that shit. I usually don't smell like an ashtray, but yeah, I'm non-stop smoking and oiling and all of that. These are all religious practices, guys. They really are. You know what I mean? When you sit there and you turn on you put your headphones on and you jam out, that's a religious practice, bro. You're working on your energy. You're trying to vibe. You're trying to change your vibe or get in a vibe. That's energy work. Really? Add some oils. Right? Take that shit outside. Watch how effective that becomes. Start thinking good thoughts. Watch how that shit manifests. Really? Yeah. I'll teach you how to work it. Work it. Alright, anyways, that was 174 hertz. We didn't find out what's going on with the 92. The Yogini is in the 285. So, somewhere between that and this. It's like this and like that. Numerous spiritual traditions of the East, such as those of Nepal, Tibet, and India, the Yogini is a female spiritual adept to, here we go, the divine feminine of the masculine. Practitioner of deep yoga that awakens a powerful connection with one's real inner being. The Yogini holds space for healing and enlightenment, moving through obstacles and challenges with wisdom, patience, commitment, and often great joy. She's our spiritual sister, our sacred friend, and our guide away from the bleak Iranos. What the fuck is this word, Marshall? Sound it out. I'm trying. Ironorous. I don't know. Thinking of the ego. How do you spell it? Erroneous. Pronunciation, please. Anybody in the back? I'm open to suggestions. I never said I could pronounce all this shit. I was stumbling like a motherfucker. Alright, whatever that word is. Thinking of ego into softened, awakened, relaxed, gracious way of gift. When the Yogini of 285 makes her appearance felt in a reading, it is a sign that we are on a powerful healing journey to connect body, mind, and soul with the truth of our spiritual nature. We are working with an inner level of letting go of past pains and opening up our empowerment and grace, dignity, and legitimacy into the present moment. This oracle indicates there is a spiritual approach to healing any and all struggles in our lives. And that's what I teach you. I am a spiritual healer, teacher, shaman, seer. I know it sounds like all kinds of shit, but I really am all that shit. Really? Yeah, that's why I gotta tell you all that stupid shit, bro. It's not just for fun. It's not fun to say it. It's not fun to start a conversation with that shit. And it has gotten lengthier and lengthier since I began. When I first started, I was like, I guess I gotta give an intro. It has gotten so long, and it just gets longer every time I find a word that describes a person like me from ancient history. They don't exist anymore. I don't know. Do you know a shaman? Do you know a seer? Do you know a sage? Do you know a mystic? There's some mediums out there, supposedly. Do you know any of these? Do you know an evangelist that can lay their hands upon people and heal them or cast out demons? Okay. I don't know any of these people either, but that's what I am. Do you know a messenger of God? They're all kind of messengers of God, but I mean the true messenger that speaks to God directly, and Jesus and all of them, right? I have to tell you I'm all this shit. Now who am I really? I am Lilith, God's first creation in a female form. Him in the female form. You serious? Yes, I fucking tell you this all the time, losers. I don't got time for the lies. You just don't want to believe the truth. I get it. No, they're not cheating on me. I have to use all these stupid examples because I've seen you guys believe lies your whole life. I've believed a couple of myself. I don't walk in them. I don't tell lies myself. You can't be of the truth and in the light if you're just living a lie. The truth is in front of you. And that's that whole Matrix movie. Like, this is a whole lie. It's not real. What do you mean life's not real? It's not real. It's a whole construct of our minds being played out. It's a video game. They play with us. It's like Hunger Games, dude. I've seen it. They play on a fucking table like they play us like a video game, dude. It's like Roblox. It's like Sims. They're fucking with us. Serious? Yeah, I've seen it. I tried to push the buttons. It's not even funny. Seriously? Yeah. I mean, whatever. And that's what it is. It's like, you deny what I see, but that's fine. I'll be looking at you and you see it right in front of your face, denying what's in front of your face. I'm like, well, fuck, what am I supposed to say? You're blind. The Bible says you're lame. That's a good answer. That's just real common. You're lame. What does that mean? Deaf, dumb, and blind. That's what they called you. So this confirms that I'm taking you through this as your spiritual healer. Alright? How do I teach? I teach you how to heal your mind, body, and soul. Right? That's what makes me the teacher. Where do I get it? Using things like shaman work, being a seer and a sage. I talk to I'm a mystic. and a medium. I talk to fucking entities and spirits. That is the definition of a high priestess right there. But me, myself, am a phoenix. I've had many, many lives. Burnt them to the ground and start all over. To teach you how to embrace that. To be a Phoenician. To be... Fuck. God. Anyways. As a blueprint, it helps our soul's journey. Synchronizing our inner and outer lives. Felt in conflict between your inner aspirations and your outer reality. The oracle indicates it's a time for healing change. The time for healing change has come. What does that mean? The dark night of the soul? You're going to have to work through your fucking flesh to get to your spirit. You have an open spirit and a bad heart. So we have to do an open heart surgery. Really? Yeah, it's terrible. The soul blueprint is the original spiritual plan for our development. It is the innate guiding wisdom within each being that knows what is meant to be. An example of intelligence within a caterpillar that knows how to move with practice or with patience and the process transforming into a butterfly. And that's it. Some of you are trying to get to that transformational phase where you're trying to force this. You're trying to force that next thing in your life. You're like, it's time for me to get married. Says who? You don't look like you're ready to get married at all. No, it's time. I'm of age. Really? It's time to get a job and and to move out of my parents' house. I don't think you're gonna do so good out there. I don't think you're really made there. I don't think it's about age. It's a mentality. I don't think you have the mentality for this. But you say that you're ready, and you try to force your readiness. You try to force. Oh fuck, Mike Stud. Mike, what's up? You want to take a swing? Alright, you gotta show me you're not gay. This whole situation with you and Aaron Rodgers is not convincing at all. But sure, if you want to take a swing. They shared Sound Got Rude today, talking about, just enjoy the process. I mean, just go with the flow. I'm trying to force life. I am not trying to force shit. I'm trying to force, sometimes I'm trying to get done with shit. But forcing is chasing. I just want to be happy. And fucking be happy. Why is happy in the future? And why does it come with all this shit? Why don't you just be happy with the way you are? No, I'm not happy because I'm listening. Why aren't you happy? Oh, we don't want to talk about that, right? We don't want to talk about what's holding your happiness back. Just the fact that you believe it's 5 years from now and in a house and with a car and some girl. Shut up. It's not going to make you happy. It sounds like a lot of work and a long time before you're ever happy. You might want to adjust your happiness levels. You have an idea of what happiness looks like, but you miss the joy of every day. And joy is true happiness. Today, I did a video, and that shit was super funny. I had so much fun doing it. I was happy today. I got joy out of just doing my job. It was fun. I laughed a lot. Why? Because teaching the Quran. That was hilarious. I have no power, according to them, and it just was hilarious to me. I had a good time being stupid. Being somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. Doing some shit I wasn't supposed to do. That God said I should do. He told me to have an adventure, and it was one hell of an adventure. That could have got me killed. And as God. Really? Yeah. As a witch, as a woman, as a Christian, as all these things, I'm not allowed to talk about that shit. I can talk about everything else but that. I'm about to talk about it. It makes me want to dig in deeper. But the whole book starts with, and it's right on top because it's a little guy. All we talked about today was, these religious studies that give you a fundamental understanding of spiritual enlightenment based on some rules. So that's what Mary Magdalene talked about. And she, in her book, it aligned with the Buddhist. We went to the Buddhist book, and it aligned with the Hindu completely. It was a guy from the Vaishnava, whatever, from the Hindu, the Krishna. He was literally the scribe of Krishna that came over and taught the fucking Buddhists that they have the same 4 principles. The 4 principles were about why we suffer and the point of our suffering. The Quran was about what this life is about and the consequences of this life, how that plays out in the afterlife. Jesus and all of that is about the same fucking thing. So, going back to what this motherfucker just said, this shit right here, it's your blueprint, the original spiritual plan for your development, right? An example is the intelligent within the caterpillar, and that's it. It's like you're on the right steps. You don't have to force this to happen. You don't have to force life. Life is happening for you. You're just trying to live somebody else's life, and that's never going to work for you. Lewis Hamilton. It was a great example. Lewis thinks that life ends or begins, I'm not really sure, with his 8-time world championship that he's not getting from Ferrari. He's not getting it this year. He's willing to stick out unhappiness, a whole year of hell, for this idea that he might get it next year. He'll know within a couple of months if he's going to get it next year, but he'll still have to hold out another year. Now, is that his only idea of happiness? Will he do more to get that? And you look at Russ, like, oh God. His is any kind of title. At first it was a Grammy, and then he settled for, you know, best-selling artist or something. I don't know. His happiness, at least it's shifting. It's becoming a little bit more humble, but it's still putting it in something else. I'm not going to be happy until I get to this level. You're never going to get to that level. You're going to miss all of your life trying to find happiness instead of just being joyful, and then that is the happiness. Just joyful, bro. Life is good, even when it sucks. And it be sucking. Oh man, does life suck. You just have to find the joyful moments in it, and then it's not a bad life. It was happy. And that's with you, Russ. Man, you suck. Well, you really suck. But there's enough joyful moments that you bring me happiness. Right? Right. Now, going back to my fucking twin flames. It's a frequency thing. We're drawn back by frequencies. I can run to the, just like Kanye, we can run to the edge of the world, but what draws us back is a calling that's beyond the scene. And our whole life will push us back to each other. It'll push us back. It always pulls us and pushes us back to each other. Why? Because we're part of the same cord. We're tied to the same cord. We're very off tune, though, if you ask me. Fucking benchwarmers. It's supposed to be the best boy band group. I think I got the worst. Anyway. You're talking so much shit. I'm not part of it. I'm the composer, remember? If you guys make me sing, that's some bullshit. Really? Because I'm not a singer. I mean, I'm like a ghostwriter, right? The ghostwriter. That was a good one. Their head's on fire, like... It's from a movie. Forget it. Let's move on. So, obviously it's not this frequency, but we're in between frequencies of healing. I guess, ultimately... Hey, you're being loud. We're teaching you... This whole teaching was about frequencies. And this book is a good one, but you're not in those higher levels of frequencies yet. You can try to be, I guess. Again, I'm not a love and lighter. I be in the light on Sunday when everybody else is. You know, God blasts us with light on a Tuesday. Jupiter's a good day on a Thursday. Those are the best days, pretty much. If you want to be in positive days, that's how it works. Really? I mean, depending on the planets, though, that'll make a shift. If you've got, you know, it depends on what planets are on those days. But then you have the hours of the days that are ruled by planets, too. So you can align particular days with perfect hours to have the perfect result. But there's no such thing as perfect. You can just align it. It doesn't mean that you're aligning your intentions because you don't know what that planet is about, and you don't know what you want, and you don't know what God wants. And that's why people hate me. They hate me because they hate me. But because I could do this. But in essence, I'm not chasing anything. I'm just receiving. I'm not out to get anything. I'm just getting whatever comes. I'm just taking whatever comes at me. And that pisses them off. You have the power to attract. Why don't you attract better things? Your idea of better things are based on your ego, bro. You want the things of this world. I don't care. God gives me the things of this world, and that's good enough for me. I'm not chasing those. I'm chasing adventure. I'm not chasing God. I'm not chasing understanding. I'm literally still and ready for whatever the fuck comes at me. I know that there's a polarity to everything. If I ask, like, asking for patience means you're gonna fucking wait. Asking for strength means you're gonna be broken, you're gonna have to be weak. There's a polarity to it. I don't ask for shit. I don't want to know. I'm just here to, to receive it and live it as it is, you know what I mean? And people want you to, they all want to be in control. They want you to take control of your life and have full control and take action and I go at Wolfman. And as much as I hate you, we're made to heal this between the both of us. You're just, bringing it to the surface, dickhead. It's fucking twin flames. It's not that I don't love you, I just really don't. I've been doing this for 3 years, and knowing I'm going to have to do it forever and nobody else is doing it really frustrates me. It'd be cool if we were working on it together and it was like just as painful for both of us, but it's just a pain fest for me while you guys over there just, lollygagging through your material world. It's so stupid. Anyways, going back to it. Your matrix mind is made up of the things of this world. And so you need to have the things of this world to be part of, to have an identity in this world. And the whole point of it is you do lose your identity when you stop chasing the things of this world. But it doesn't mean you don't exist. And that's where these new programming come, is you find your true purpose and you exist in a different way. And although it seems very alien, like me, like there's nobody that lives like this, there's plenty. I couldn't believe it, and I almost wanted to say something. The Holy Spirit said, no, let them be. So I saw Mermaid Prophetess, right? I've been telling her forever this was a witch-ass bitch. So then she finally shares, I saw it, she shared on her community page. It was a copy and paste Google fucking thing. But she shared some spell work of how to do some banishing spell work. She's stepping into the witchhood. And she's teaching a bunch of fucking negative-ass people how to banish energy, right? She's creating witches. Now, the witch work that they're doing, in essence, is what we all are supposed to do as witches, is banishment and protection and healing. So the spell that she shared on a public platform, on just on her channel, was just that. Very detailed, using crystals and herbs and whatever. I didn't read the spell. I have my own ways of cleaning and cleansing. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, bitch, you really trying to step up your tarot game. But in the essence is she's guided to not only start practicing. Now that's where you stand back. You look at this bitch with her titties hanging out all the time and she's ordering DoorDash, you know what I mean? Fucking Grubhub and whatever else is delivering to herself, to her fucking table. And you ask yourself, are you meditating and actually practicing what you preach? Or is your bitch ass going to the store to buy these crystals, to buy these herbs, to read these books, to do what it takes to elevate your energy? Or are you just seeing that other people are doing it, trying to share the shit, and trying to be part of something that you're not part of? And that's what I said going back to, Wolfman. Wolfman has his religious practices where he burns a candle and he sits down with his one stone and he prays to his one deity. And that's what, going back to the Catholics, they light their candle and they sit down with their rosemary and they look at their picture of Mother Mary or Jesus. And they start saying their prayers, their incantations, their spells to this deity, invoking this deity into their life. We are all practicing religious practices, right? The question is, are we practicing what we preach, what was taught, and are we asking for the same intentions? Me as my magic, that's all I'm supposed to do as a priest, dude. You guys get it real fucked up all the time. I am a priestess. There are not rabbis that are doing secret magic and occult shit, you know what I mean, to be rich and famous and have, these temples and be all, filled with gold and shit. That was Pharisee shit. That was shit from, you learn not to do that type of shit in ancient cultures. But yet, here we are, and there's these people that, dress up like fucking... like Broen over there putting on capes and fucking, Indian makeup and fucking, henna tattoos, and then she's wearing pentagrams and shit. You guys try to dress up as a spiritual person. You think that it's a look. It's not a look. People that are Christ-like don't look a certain way. They act a certain way. Spiritualists don't do, you know what I mean? They act in certain ways. You know? Now, I'm not holding people back from religious practices, because that's where it is we go back to these ancient practices that are helping us, you know what I mean? As far as banishment, we're trying to banish dark energies that we've been carrying, and those that are, you know, eating off of us, that we're not aware. You know, these are actual practices, and that's what I do shit like that all the time about. And, they get mad at me because of my magical abilities, and that I don't use it to produce more valuable things of this world. I don't chase the valuable things of this world. I find value in just the world itself. I do acknowledge that there are beautiful things that they create, and they're lovely, but I don't lust for them or desire them. I acknowledge them in all of their beauty and wonder, you know, like nice cars and clothes and nice things. But I'm not desperate to have such things where I'm going to do something magically, brew up something to beg the gods. And that's what magic is you're invoking the gods to give you, to put something into your life. All of this I'm invoking is to give you guys knowledge and wisdom to get you on the right track. Give me the words and the ability to teach them how to get closer to you, so they can know you and not be lost in the things of this world, as I was, and as many are. That's all I really do around here, and that pisses people off. If I could talk to Hawk, I would do this. If I could talk to the gods, if I could manifest like she could, I'd be rich, and I'd be this. That's why you're not given such powers. They're not used for those things. Angels don't use their powers for the things of this world. Angels bring their powers to the people of this world to empower them through their suffering. A light worker is not going to make you rich, bro. And neither is a dark practitioner. Neither is your president, bro. He's not trying to make you rich. He's trying to make you happy. God's not trying to make you rich, bro. He's trying to make you happy. Your husband and wife and job are not trying to make you rich. They're trying to make you happy. Your parents aren't here to give you a rich life. They're trying to show you some happiness through this life. You guys got it all fucked up. You think that happiness is success. I know the most successful celebrities in this world. I talk to them in the DMs all the time. They're not happy, and that's why I'm talking to them. They've discovered that the things of this world don't really bring happiness, and they don't know where to find happiness anymore. But they also don't know how to stop chasing the things of this world that they thought were going to give them happiness. They're really stuck in two worlds. It's really hard for them. And you're stuck there too. Which is what? Hell on earth? You'll learn to find joy and the little things that God has provided for you. It comes with a lot of gratitude. Hopefully He won't have to humble you to where you only have a few things in your life and you're very grateful for those things. That's the humility of giving everything away. But when you've already given it all away, you had great things, and you went through the battle of giving away these things, one, you're not going to battle it again, and that's kind of like an addiction, you know? It's like I had my time where I had all these crazy stories of getting drunk and having lots of fun, but it was hard for me to stop. I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to go through that battle again. And I actually no longer want to. I had too many times, too much fun with that. Meaning I had the great things of life. They were great. I worked hard for them, and I had a great life to show for myself. And it was really hard to give it up. But I accept with great gratitude and unbelievable humility that I did have those, and I don't long for them because I did have them. I don't long for the things that I had. That's what it means not to live in the past. And I don't have that mindset of where I need things to make me happy, because I realized when I did have all those great things, I was not happy. I'm grateful now to look back and see that I did have all those things. I'm a little sad that I didn't, you know what I mean? I was ungrateful when I had them, so now I have more gratitude for them, but I have no desire to go and just replace it all after I had given them all up. I guess when it's snatched out of your hand, you really want it back. But I didn't have it snatched. I fought hard to give it up. And that goes back to drugs and alcohol and all bad behaviors. I fought hard to give up drugs, alcohol, bad relationships, my family, my friends, my music. I fought hard to let it go. I don't want to fight that hard again. I'm not going to hold on to those things that it was so hard to let go of. This is a letting go process, and that's painful. But once you finally let go, you don't want to get attached to it again, because you barely let go of it the first time. You barely made it out the first time. You're not going to do that again. And that's where your pride comes in, and it's like, Wolfman, you cut deep when you said that shit. I don't think you realized it was going to. Your pride did some damage in this. It's like, if you want to just, give up all your belongings and wear fucking, garbage bags and live on a utopia, and, more power to you. But me, no. You need an ego if you want to be successful. Otherwise, you're going to be weak. You have no idea the strength it took to become me. And you and your ego and your ability to have great things doesn't make you strong. It makes you weak, and it makes you one of 8.2 billion other people that find strength in the things of this world. Can you be happy without such things? Can you still stand tall with no belongings and standing in scrubs? Can you still be, you know what I mean, honored and respected and worthy of love without these things? People like Russ don't believe so. And, I did have great things. But the great battle was to give up such things and live this life. And to be great without things. It's not that I don't, God won't put good things in my life, but I don't desire them, so it's not like, a big deal. If he doesn't give me I saw it today, I never had one, and I was like, I saw it yesterday, and it's old school, but I saw this chick, of course, she was driving a Mercedes, it was a Mercedes Jeep. They used to call them the Mercedes truck, though, but it's just like a Jeep. It's like, damn, I always wanted one of those. So I set it into the universe. I want something older. I don't want the new 2025 Mercedes Jeep or Mercedes AMG. I was like, no, there was a time in my life I wanted that car. I still kind of want that car. That'd be cool. That was a car I wanted. So there's some things I still wanted from life that I didn't get that'll still probably come to me, but it's not like it's like, like Russ, like he wanted his Phantom and shit. I didn't want a $155,000 fucking car and shit like that. I'm pretty sure I could get that car for like $13,000 right about now. Nothing major, probably 10. Shit. Let me hustle the motherfucker. In the essence, I always wanted a big house. I never really did. I said I wanted to have a house where my husband and I had separate rooms, so that he had his space and I had mine, and we could come together in our own room. Why? I don't know. I always said that for a long, long time. It was always a vision in my head. I don't know, just space. I don't know. Why not? It's just something I always saw in my head. I mean, in essence, I guess that's kind of a big house. It doesn't have to necessarily be. You know what I mean? There were certain things that I envisioned for my life that'll still fulfill itself, but I never saw all that. I didn't want to have like a 14-car garage, and I wanted land, and I wanted, animals, and I wanted, farming and shit like that. So that stuff will still come to pass, but I didn't want the things that you guys want. I wanted to travel, but I didn't want to stay in the brightest hotels and be all flashy and, wear high heels and take pictures and drink expensive drinks and all of that. I just wanted to see things, feel things, taste things. Very humble. Today I went shopping, made a big deal about it. I'm about to have a piece right now. I could have got anything in the store, but all I really wanted was some bread and butter. It ended up being like fucking $13 for a fucking loaf of fucking sourdough bread and some fucking butter. But that's all I wanted. You don't need to take me out to an expensive meal. Take me outside. Have a real talk. That's pretty good for me. That stuff, those are the things that money can't buy, but yet they're literally priceless and impossible to find in this world. The humbler things of life, dude, the joys of life. You can't find joy in the things that you find, and I'm not convinced that you actually find joy in it. I think you like them like I like them. It's nice to have nice things. I can't, from the outside, it doesn't really look like Kim Kardashian or or Lewis Hamilton, you know what I mean, find joy in all these beautiful things that they have. They're kind of my, flossiest celebrity connections, meaning they have everything at their disposal at all times, the nicest things of life. It doesn't seem to bring either of them happiness. They're both pretty sad and alone. Very rich and deep, I don't think they've even had a regular cooked, baked potato meal. I don't think they own a non-designer pair of jeans or shoes. I don't know if they would go for a walk with me through the dirt because of the value of the clothing that touches their skin. I don't think they have a pair of tennis shoes that either of them would put on and be okay destroying walking through our mountains. Really? Yeah, I know they have lots of sports gear to look cute doing it, but I don't think they'd want to. I don't know, but then again, they have money like that where everything's disposable. Again, I don't believe any of this brings them happiness. They just have a lot of things. Anything at their disposal, both of them. That's just what I'm saying, is I know people that have everything and it doesn't mean anything to them. And then there's people like me that don't have anything, don't have much, I should say. And we're happy. We seem to be happier people than those that have everything. And that's because we find joy in life, not in things. That's all. Alright, well, this was a heavy duty, and I spent my whole night with you, and I love you. And tomorrow I got some shit to do, but it will be a Monday, and we'll go into I will teach you, I know we'll do a spiritual growth, and I believe it is time for the 10-day. So that comes tomorrow. Full moon ceremonies and shit. Frequencies, vibrations, music, tones, hertz, all of that is what we talked about. Aliens, Jesus, Egyptians, all kinds of shit. It's always a lot going on over here. Take it all in. Keep what you can and wherever it resonates, and let's, get on this healing journey, yeah? Yeah? Hey, I love yous. Laters. Bye.